Hi, everybody. Welcome to this month's rendition of the NeQter Monthly Town Hall. As always, it's myself, Nick, and Patrick on today's webinar with you. Patrick will once again be taking the lead with walking you through today's webinar. For the most part, it is going to be a rehash of last month's town hall, with a couple of important notes for a hotfix that we have recently released today, as well as I'm sure the 2.19.1 update. I will be handling all of the questions for you, so please feel free to fire any off as we go through today's presentation. In the meantime, I will pass it over to Patrick so we can kick things off.
Yep. Thanks, Nick. Hey, everybody. Well, the main difference between this month and last month was last month we kind of talked about, hey, here's all the things that are going to be coming out in 2.19.1, and between now and then, it came out. So we had the update come out. All of those things that we hinted at coming are now in the platform. And then we did have a quick small 2.19.2 update come out this morning, where we wanted to add in a feature very quickly that a few people wanted to leverage, and we'll be talking about that here today. So we'll be going back, just a very, very quick rehash of 2.19, just in case anyone missed those changes, talking about the new things that came out in 2.19.1, and then now it should show up as 2.19.2 in your dashboards. Talking again about the ecosystem updates, not that there have been many, just because month to month there's not a whole lot, but as we scale across 6 to 12 months, there are new and interesting things with CMMC. And then NeQter, we have a busy schedule personally coming up next few weeks, where we will be attending a few shows, some local, some on the West Coast. So we'll be hashing out all of that, and of course are ready to answer any of the questions that you guys may have. So for 2.19.1, or rather 2.19.0, that we had a couple months ago at this point, where we keep building out and adding more and more report types. A couple of the ones that we've included have been enhancing things that you can get out of the vulnerability scanner. One of our biggest focuses with the reports tool is ensuring that you can schedule reports and don't necessarily have to go into NeQter to extract useful information from it. I know that the vulnerability scanner, the native reports that it has built on there can be kind of clunky, or may require just some know-how to get exactly what you want out of it. So we've replicated a lot in the reports tool that's both up at the top right for on-demand reports, but then also, of course, in the reports tab where you can schedule reports. So one of the ones was a detailed vulnerability report, where all of those things, or some things that maybe a few users weren't privy to, such as getting available ports and services or certificates in use in a network that the scanner detects, those all get fleshed out in this report here. It gets a nice formatted Excel. A couple additional changes have also been to the compliance tool and subsequent reports that you can extract out of there. One of the reports that we added with this update, 2.19.0, was getting a detailed list of tasks that are within the tool, but we wanted to add the additional function of assigning a task owner, so you can assign task owners. And then therefore, when you export the task report, you can have it be all tasks for everybody, or you can say, you know what, I want to schedule a monthly report. Every month I get a report for this system security plan, just for me, just for what tasks do I have to do, rather than caring about what everyone else is doing. What am I doing? or you can add multiple people. So that's one of the reports that have been added with that new kind of ownership ability with tasks that you can create under each assessment objective. And then, of course, anything that happens to your system security plan, if you want to know about updates and what they were, kind of just instead of having to access the compliance tool, click in the SSP, and then click to each subsequent AO and say, okay, well, what changes have occurred, or needing to create a revision to see what changes have occurred. You can grab, okay, what are all change log changes listed out in a nice report format. So that's that one. And again, as we get on these monthly webinars, but then also, of course, the conversations that Nick has daily with people, the tickets that we get through support, let us know if there's things that we can better visualize or add or expand upon with the reports function. And then, of course, one of the things that we added in that 2.19.0 was integration with Prevail. And this kind of hints at, an additional thing that we have that we added today, which I'll get into in a bit. So Prevail, much like the next integration that came out in 2.19.2, requires either a client-side VM or SIM connector that they provide, or that you can procure through them. You can charge them a monthly, pay them a monthly fee for basically getting logs out of Prevail. And then that SIM connector is going to push out a syslog. So just like any other syslog integration, Prevail is the same as that. And we're going to be able to glean the same types of information, such as outcomes and severity levels and user actions. So if you've been using Prevail or thinking about using Prevail, you want to see what's happening up within that app, we can grab all those logs so we can see admin actions, what users send and receive and open and all that there. So that's all getting pulled into that nice integration. So for 2.19.1 or 2.19.2 as of today, the new update. Now this one, it's been very popular, the Vulnerability Delta Report. And what this is going to allow you to do, and I actually have one pulled up here that I downloaded, you're going to be able to see over time, or rather comparison of comparing this report when it ran maybe today and or when it ran last month, what vulnerabilities are new, what's unchanged, and what's been mitigated. So you can look at it by host. You can also look at all of the different vulnerabilities, and it has all of the data from the report. But then we're also going to be able to see, okay, well, what's new, what's unchanged, and what's been mitigated. So what's new, what stayed the same, and what's been removed, as seen by the Vuln scanner. So that is a nice report where you can get that every month, and you can track to understand what changes have occurred with the vulnerability landscape within your environment. So that is with the new update that came out between now and the last time we had this webinar. And additionally, we added, and this is my personal favorite. So a lot of people like when you click on that dial, that SPUR score within the system security plan builder, you're going to be able to see, okay, well, what's my score? But that was kind of kept in the tool. That was kind of trapped in the tool. Now you can have it where you can export it out of the platform in a nice formatted report. So we can see, okay, per family, what points am I losing? Or, and it's at the control level. So within the platform, you can expand it to show you each of the subsequent assessment objectives. This just is summarizing it for you. I kind of call it a SPURS report card, or it's officially called the scorecard. So it can show you which ones are complete. So you can kind of infer and see which points lost per control. And then within the platform, you can interact and filter and go through and determine, okay, well, which specific assessment objective am I missing? But this is just a nice top-down summary report, gives you the SPURS score at the top, and then breaks it down by family. So that's a nice report that is at your disposal currently, SPURS scorecard. And then now, of course, this next integration that we added, which was really favorable when we were building it and released it, and then now it's not as popular globally, I'm sure, is integration with CrowdStrike. This is the same deal as Prevail, where it requires they refer to it as their Falcon SIM connector. It's a small VM, it's the self-hosted that you can spin up, and they're doing all the heavy lifting where the SIM connector connects to their API. It pre-parses essentially all of the log data and sends it out in a nice packaged stream through syslog. So you add it in via syslog, much like a lot of the other types of integrations, and we're able to see all of that. We're able to see all of the outcomes, severity levels, user outcomes and data. Of course, if there's any admin changes. I see that there's a quick question by Craig, which since we're here, I'll just answer it quickly. Will these reports be able to be sent out via email like some others are? Absolutely. All of the reports that we have that are up here in the top right under on demand can all be in the report section scheduled out. So any new reports that we add, they can always be either instantly generated or they can be added as a new schedule, and they're just going to be in this drop down here. So the one specifically, compliance SPURS report, you can add that one. The vulnerability delta report right here, you can select that and you can set up the schedule just like the other ones. Now, whether it's scheduled or, and of course, any scheduled report can be emailed. I need to see where we left off within internal discussions on setting up just having an on-demand report be emailed from here too. I can double check on that. But of course, if yes, all the reports can be sent via email via the scheduler, and any report that gets either generated or whether it's scheduled or on demand is also going to be listed out in the timeline here, so you can call it up later. So if email it to yourself and delete that email, or you download it and delete it, well, it's still going to be within here until you come in and decide to maybe delete that selected report. So absolutely, you can email that out just like the others. So going back to the presentation here, so if you're still using CrowdStrike or you're a big fan of the $10 Uber Eats gift card that they sent out as an apology, you can integrate with it now, send it into NeQter, get those logs into here just fine. And so I literally made this slide like 30 minutes ago or so, because the update came out this morning. So bottom line is Secure Syslog is now supported with NeQter. So if you prefer, or you have applications or even the firewalls that you're sending regular syslog into NeQter, and you say, okay, well, actually, you know what, I don't want plain text syslog. I'd rather have it be secure. I have it be encrypted. Great. You can send 6514. That's the port that you send into NeQter to get those logs in. One of the reasons that we added this was there are certain cloud apps or SaaS products that do export logs via secure syslog. They provide you with a public IP. You're able to send this secure syslog out, ingest it into NeQter. So you'll have to have a port forwarding for port 6514 into NeQter. But once you have that connected up, one of the things, and we tested it today and had success, so we're going to start building out and parsing logs for, is Sentinel-1. Sentinel-1 EDR, just like CrowdStrike, but they send their logs via secure syslog. So, great. So we're going to be able to pull those logs in, start building that out. So if there's certain integrations and that, much like everything else that you want to see, the process of allowing NeQter to get that supported is send those logs into an others input so that we have, log content, log data, and then share those parsed logs with us. We'll parse them even more, make them specific to the integration, and then we can come out with a new supported app or software or what have you. So we're doing that with the Sentinel-1 now. Another one is Barracuda, for example, has that same form and function. So we have this capability now, super exciting. So we can grab that net new data and start to support that. So Nick, I think you have a question. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you do, about the reports. Jacob Brown would like to know if they will ever be able to schedule reports to run on specific days, so that he can stagger his reports one after another. Also, so that they don't have to wait until a specific day of the month when they want them to run and create the report on that day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's a great a feature request. I feel like that has been discussed internally and is a feature request currently. However, definitely deserves getting put into our internal channel for a feature request. So what I'm hearing is much like kind of like in Kibana, where you can use a calendar, use the time picker. You like to have a calendar function, either day and time, that you like to schedule a specific report. So let's let's get that on the board. So I think that's definitely something that we can look to add. So Nick, if you want to write that out and we can talk about that tomorrow at our weekly meeting.
And to touch upon being able to run it on a specific day instead of having to wait, correct me if I'm wrong, Pat, but the way the reports are currently structured, shouldn't they be able to go into either on-demand reports and run one right away, or for one that's scheduled, be able to click into the edit option and run it right away so they can get it early if they need it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you can go into, both of those things that you just mentioned. Yeah, you can go and say, I want this report right now, and generate the data or specify which data you want and pull it out of here. So when it comes to things like vulnerability frequency report, if you want to go and say, okay, well, I want to know about the vulnerability data from this particular scan task profile, and then you could choose latest, or you can say, you know what, I want it from the time this ran, and run that report and get that from the tool, download that off, absolutely. Or if you're kind of, you have a schedule in here and you want to go and you want to run it, much like you just said, Nick, yes, you can do that. However, it sounds like in terms of like how we have the base settings, where you could say, I want this report to run monthly, weekly, daily. If instead of, because right now it's the top of the month. So if you say, sort of like, change when you want to pay your bills. Okay, well, actually, I would rather this report run, the third day of every month, or the first Tuesday of the month, that kind of specificity. And it sounds like as well, Jacob wants the ability where, well, I want the first Monday of the month, I want the vulnerability reports, and then on the first Thursday or the fourth of the month, I want to run the inventory report. Just so, because if you have 10 reports and you have them running monthly, then first day of the month, you're going to have 10 emails from NeQter with those reports in your inbox. So I think that's kind of the use case he's talking about. And absolutely, we can look to see how we can have a more dynamic scheduler or ability to time or calendar the schedules more effectively. So hopefully that answers that. And I'm just personally, I'm very excited about this new secure syslog feature. So that's everything in 2.19.2. The next items of discussion, and of course, if anyone has any other tool questions, fire them away. I'll put a pin in my presentation and break out the tool. So just wanted to re-highlight this again. I know everyone's been, hearing about CMMC and are there changes, and it sometimes it's imperceptible because it's moving at kind of a slower pace than a lot of people anticipated, or rather, if you know the government, it's as expected. So a couple of the changes I wanted to hit on again in the presentation this month is just talking about the first and foremost the 32 CFR, and this is going to be and this was officially submitted to OIRA for final review, and so this was a couple months back at this point. And what this is going to allow is essentially the creation of the CMMC program. So it can be a legal established program. CMMC can be recognized. And this is, the guys over at Summit 7 have referred to this as a market rollout. So the next stage, I'll come back to this, but the next stage, of course, is the 48 CFR. This is government can put into contracts and require that CMMC is part of contract award, all that there. So we might have a bit of a layered approach to updates to CMMC, where CMMC can go live and be a program, and you might have instances where if you're working with the prime, or maybe if you are the prime, you can start saying, or you might start getting asked, hey, we need you to have your CMMC cert. Because C3PAOs and all that there, they can start performing assessments and start certifying with 32 CFR. And that could happen as soon as potentially January with this estimated timeline listed out here. So the publication window, once it's published, will say there's a time delay of 60 days from publication before it's effective. So Merry Christmas is basically what this is saying. And then with 48, it was submitted in May of 2024, and therefore is expected to be published potentially this month. We shall see. But it will be Q4 of next year, kind of 12 months after the fact, that it can start being written into contracts. So you might have it where all of 2025, CMMC is not in contracts, but is being asked of you because, it can be allowed to be. It's going to be legal. So that's just kind of what we're seeing. I know this has been a long slog since, 2019, and even earlier for those of us, keeping score at home with NIST 800-171. But just wanted to touch upon both of those things. And then more importantly, because we've gotten a couple questions on this and just wanted to, kind of restate that this is a thing. NIST came out with SP 800-171 Rev 3 on May 14th. And of course, for those that, again, keeping score at home, remembering the whole NIST 7012 clause and all that there, previously it had hard-coded it had, or rather, it had said, the version or the revision of the NIST publication effective at time of solicitation. DoD issued a class deviation that came out with a formal, immediate release saying, hey, we have updated 7012 to say Rev 2. So no longer hazy of, okay, well, in effect at time of solicitation, because for all of you doing Rev 2, Rev 3 comes out officially, you don't want to have to go, oh, I have to now meet with this, meet this new requirement now. So DoD said, nope, we're kind of putting that on ice. This Rev 2 moving forward, or, effective as of May 2nd. So just wanted to, because we got a couple questions on that, or rather people asking us, hey, when's Rev 3 going to be added into the compliance portion of the tool? It will get added. We don't have a timeline for that, just again, because it's not required, but there are, of course, a lot of people who are looking forward, kind of future-proofing, wanting to get started early on Rev 3, or it might be in other industries that are requiring it. So that will make its way into, as a new framework, into the policy tool. But fortunately, DoD gave everyone a lot of breathing room with this class deviation. So that's everything there in terms of ecosystem updates. Things that are notable to mention now, of course, we're in yet another hurry up and wait period for, what's up with CMMC, when's it happening? We shall see. But what is going to be happening very soon is NeQter attending different shows. So the first show is going to be in a couple weeks. I get the great privilege of flying out of Logan at 6 a.m. and then coming home on a red eye later in the week. But August 19th through the 21st, Monday through Wednesday, we're going to be at myself and Levi are going to be at Navy Gold Coast, NDIA, a Navy Gold Coast in San Diego. So if you are there and choose to attend, great. If you are, if you guys are located there, reach out to a couple of you saying, hey, let's meet up, let's get drinks or catch a Padres game. That's definitely on the agenda for sure. So we'll be out there. It's a quite a big show, 1,000 or more people attend. So that's going to be exciting. So we'll be there just in a couple weeks' time. After that, this is more of a local show, and of course, where NeQter got its start, SNIDI, or the Southeast New England Defense Industry Alliance. So this is in Newport, Rhode Island, at the Marriott down there. End of the month, August 26th through the 28th. It's a smaller show, still well attended, and which always exciting. There's a lot of Navy brass that shows up that we're able to talk to, and talk about concerns with supply chain and deliverability and cybersecurity and CMMC and all that there. So that's a nice show. Unfortunately, that one is currently sold out. So hopefully you secured your tickets, and we'll be seeing you all you local folks. And then lastly, to kind of bookend it for right now, we'll have some other shows we're doing at the end of the year that I'll talk about in future. But this one, so I am on the NDIA New England Board of Directors, and I've been helping out with this show. This is a great show. NDIA New England at Gillette Stadium, which is always cool, September 10th to Tuesday. So we are sponsoring the show. It's pretty well attended, usually 300 to 400 people, and we have a fantastic lineup of different speakers, both from government, private industry, military, all that there, solely focused on cybersecurity. So I've just put in the chat the sign up for the show in terms of just to kind of show you guys. Let me see here. Just grab this link. Just to show you a bit about the different speakers, the different topics. It's going to be, featuring post-quantum cybersecurity, China, AI, different government requirements. We have Lauren from CISA, Dave Norquist. So a lot of great speakers, a lot of great topics, and so right now there is the register early and save. So if you want to go to the show, fantastic. However, NeQter is also sponsoring a after party. So if you are in the area and you're working that day, but want to kick back, grab some food, grab a drink, we'll be at Patriot Place. And let me just also post a link if you'd like to sign up for our Eventbrite to attend. I'll also put that in the chat. We'll be sending out emails as well, but just wanted to give everyone on here a heads up that that's going to be happening within the next 4 to 6 weeks. All those different shows where we're going to be, if you want to come and say hi. So that's essentially it for another webinar. A lot of rehashing of what we talked about. A couple great questions, things that we've been ruminating on internally or looking to add. So awesome, bringing up all that stuff. Any other questions, or comments, or things that anyone wants to mention on the talk today? Nick, was there anything that you came up with or thought that's worth mentioning?
The only thing I had was potentially looking at showing the distinction between the compliance reports and the actual system security plan that's generated from the compliance tool. I have an email come in today that made it look like there might be some confusion on that front. So maybe just a quick demonstrate would be good.
Yeah, and that was something I think we should bring up where if we want to see if it makes sense for us to add that SSP export into the report as well. Because that was kind of something that along the same similar vein of the full inventory report, where under hosts, under inventory was where previously you're able to download a full report. And that's still something that you can do, or you can kind of configure it and customize it. But we wanted to, of course, also add it into the on-demand reports, just because we don't want any, kind of single point of failure from getting certain data out. So yeah, the question that I had seen today was anything that's up here in the on-demand reports: compliance change report, compliance task report, compliance spurs report. Those are all going to be about data within a system security plan or data about a system security plan. So what changes are people making? What tasks are in there that we can extract out? The spurs report, kind of getting a summarized data breakdown of, okay, how are we doing? Or just a nice top-down summary of what is the spurs, score. But of course, extracting out the fully formatted system security plan is very important and very crucial. And that's going to be under the plan. So when we go to compliance, we go to this plan here, for example. We want to grab all this data out. We're going to navigate to the export area on the left tab here. Depending on screen size, sometimes the that left pane goes away and you're left with these kind of dots. So depending on your resolution, it might just be over here in this kind of this grid look, these grid dot look. But bottom line is going to export the report, and then you can generate the SSP here. So yeah, I had seen that question where if you want to grab the full PDF of the SSP, all the content that's being put into the tool, this is where that gets accomplished. However, it's worth the discussion tomorrow potentially as well of, well, should we put this kind of generate function or this SSP export function where right here you can kind of export the draft. You can also export the revision. If you have previous revisions, you can export that in time. The nice thing about exporting it here, though, is there are additional options where you can kind of customize what gets included. If you want to password protect the document, if you want to add a watermark and customize that watermark, or if you want to change kind of the color scheme of the plan, you can do all of that here. And then you can generate and download that plan. So this is where the SSP gets exported and downloaded and extracted from the tool. Any of the compliance reports are going to be extrapolating or are going to be metadata of the kind of system security plan that we have in the tool. And then, of course, they can also be scheduled. So at the top of the month, or if we, add that kind of the calendar selection tool, or once a week, I want to know about what changes have happened for the, the compliance change report. And you can specify which plan you want that to be. That's what this is going to be for. So hopefully that's a good breakdown. Yeah. Any other questions that have come in or that anyone wants to? And this can be about the platform. This can be about CMMC, or if anyone has any questions on those shows that will be attending, now's the time to do it.
I think we can give it a couple minutes to let some questions come in. But I will note, Kelly did comment about how nice the export does look for the system security plan. So we'll also have to make sure we talk about that with the developers tomorrow so that they can get some positive notes on top of things that we need to work on.
Yeah, so just that last point by Kelly, export is needed. You have to provide it to the assessor, absolutely. Generating and saving this off, like right here, printing the document or downloading document. Right here is where you can accomplish that. To kind of grab that off. So if I want to just pull that up here it is exported. It has that watermark that I added. So all of the content, everything that's within the SSP is right here. However, to your next point, or they have to have access to your NeQter device, just want to highlight the ability for you to add. We go into settings and we add a user. If you wanted to provide access to an assessor, you can provide read-only access to the compliance tab. Of course, and kind of just to rehash what you can do with users, of course, admin gets access to everything, including settings, and therefore they can add users. Read-write, you can assign someone to all of the tools or a subset of the tabs for read-write capability. So if you only want someone to access the host tab and the vulnerability scanner, you can do that. If you give read-write access to the compliance tab, when someone logs in, all these tabs are going to be gone. They're just going to see the compliance tab, and they can go in and interact and edit and modify the system security plan. You can also add a read-only user to the compliance tab. And going back to the compliance tab here, you can also further break down, but just because you give someone read-write access to, an SSP, one of the things that you can also do, so when you click into a system security plan, go to the top here, there's an access tab right here. You can assign or modify access to say, no, I only want you to access, these other plans, or this is the only plan you have access to. Of course, if you only have one plan, then so be it. Admins get access to everything by default, of course. And if you give someone read-only access to a plan, they're not going to be able to, they can go and they can read everything, and they can view all the information. They're going to be locked, however, from touching or changing anything, either in these drop-downs in the description of the implementation. The only thing that read-only compliance user can change or add is in the comments. So if you did want to provide access to an assessor and give them read-only access only to your system security plan, they can come in here, they can view everything, and they could add comments. And then when you export the system security plan, you can have the comments be included in the export. And those are going to show up underneath each control in this comments area here. Likewise, however, what we have some people do is they print off the document. They don't want to give their assessor access to anything. And then the comments field has, some blank space under each assessment objective. So then they can handwrite on the paper SSP document any comments that they may have. So just wanted to walk through a couple of those scenarios to give you, those kind of different options. So you can absolutely extract it from the tool, save it off, print it off, or you can give read-only access. They can add comments, or if you have it printed off, they can handwrite and annotate the document themselves. So that's what that looks like. Yeah. All right. So any other questions before we look to wrap up today? Not seeing any.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else coming in either, Pat.
All right. So yeah, we'll look to sign off for today. Hoping to see, we will have, next webinar is going to be on, of course, the 3rd of September. So we'll be able to talk about, it'll be a week before the NDA in New England. However, between now and next webinar, hopefully see some of you at those two different shows, the one in San Diego or the one in Rhode Island. Otherwise, we'll look to reconvene on the webinar next month. So hope everyone has a great kind of rest of summer, rest of August, and we'll look to speak with you again next month. Thanks, everybody.